They say they are the party for the working class. They say they're here for the little guy. They say they're the real opposition for ordinary people. They're Reform UK, and they claim to speak for the British worker. So why is their entire economic plan a direct threat to the very job security and sick pay that millions of people, including their own voters, are crying out for? This is the story of how Reform UK is selling its supporters a radical pro-business agenda that would leave them behind. Let's be honest, for millions of people in Britain today, life feels precarious. It's the gnawing anxiety of a 0 hours contract, never knowing if you'll have enough hours to pay the bills. It's the dread of waking up sick and having to choose between your health and your wages because you don't get sick pay. It's the relentless pressure of a cost of living crisis that just won't quit. This isn't just a political talking point, it's the daily reality for a huge part of the country. For years, people have demanded more security, more stability and a fairer deal. And in response, the government has been pushed to act. A piece of legislation, the Employment Rights Bill, has been making its way through Parliament. Its goals are to tackle these exact problems head on. The bill includes plans to finally ban exploitative 0 hour contracts by giving workers who work regular hours the right to a proper contract. It would also give every single worker the right to sick pay from the first day they are off ill and protect people from being unfairly dismissed from day one of their job, not after 2 years. These aren't radical ideas, they're common sense protections designed to give working people a bit of security in an insecure world, a direct answer to the problems people have been shouting about. And this is where it gets interesting. The party that shouts the loudest about the forgotten worker is Reform UK. They've built their entire brand on being the anti-establishment voice for people who feel ignored by Westminster. So you'd assume they'd be the biggest champions of a bill that gives more power and security to workers, right? You'd think they'd be the first in line to support guaranteed sick pay and an end to 0 hour contracts. Well, think again. Here's what they don't tell you on the campaign trail. Polling for the Trades Union Congress, the TUC, shows these new worker protections are overwhelmingly popular across the entire political spectrum. A huge poll in September 2025 showed that more than 3/4 of the public support workers getting sick pay from day one, and that number is even higher among voters who have switched to Reform. Nearly 80% of the public and an incredible 85% of Labour to Reform switchers support forcing employers to offer guaranteed hours to staff on 0 hour contracts. Some of the strongest supporters of these policies came from low-income, female Reform voters, the very people who make up Reform's target audience. And a huge chunk of their actual voters are desperate for these protections. They are crying out for more security, more rights, and a fairer deal at work. So if Reform UK's own supporters want these policies, why is the party's entire economic platform designed to do the exact opposite? If you believe in holding power to account and cutting through the political spin, take a moment to subscribe. Your support lets me create more videos like this one. To understand Reform's real agenda, you can't just listen to the speeches. You have to look at the policies. Because while Reform UK talks the language of the working class, their economic plan is a love letter to big businesses and radical free market ideology. It starts with their flagship tax policy. Reform has promised to raise the income tax personal allowance to £20,000. Sounds great, a tax cut for everyone, but you have to ask, where does the money come from? The Institute for Fiscal Studies, one of UK's most respected economic think tanks, estimates this policy would cost between £50 to £80 billion a year. That is a colossal hole in the public finances. A sum that large can only be filled with equally colossal cuts to public services, the NHS, schools, social care, the very services that ordinary working people who can't afford private alternatives rely on every single day. The IFS says Reform is proposing a vision that involves much lower taxes paid for with large unspecified cuts to public services that would go far beyond a crackdown on waste. But the betrayal goes deeper. It's not what they would want to cut, it's about what they want to unleash. Nigel Farage has made it clear that a top priority would be to sweep away the rules governing the City of London. Specifically, reports indicate he wants to strip the Financial Conduct Authority of its role of regulating banks, powers it was given directly in response to the 2008 financial crash, and hand control back to the Bank of England. Think about that. The rules put in place to stop bankers from gambling with our economy and to protect consumers are the very rules Farage wants to tear down in the name of growth. This isn't a plan to help a factory worker in Sunderland or a care worker in Stoke. It's a plan to help investment bankers in Canary Wharf. It prioritises the freedom of financiers to make risky bets over the financial security of the entire country. And it's their entire philosophy. Their official documents are filled with calls to scrap net zero, which they blame for holding businesses back, and to pursue a radical agenda of deregulation across the board. They want to make it easy for businesses to operate with fewer rules and fewer obligations to their staff. This is a high-risk economic experience. It's a pro-business, anti-regulation, small state vision that has more in common with a hard-right American think tank than the traditions of a British pub. And that is the fundamental betrayal. They are tapping into the genuine pain of working people, but the solution they're selling is a dose of the very medicine that made them sick in the first place. So let's be clear, Reform UK's brand is for the people, but their product is for the cooperation. They attract voters who are desperate for security, for guaranteed hours and sick pay, but the party's core mission is to deliver the exact opposite, a deregulated economy where businesses have more power and workers have fewer protections. The great betrayal of Reform UK isn't a single vote in Parliament, it's their entire vision for the country. It's the vast gaping chasm between what they promised their voters and what their policies would actually deliver. They campaign with the language of social solidarity while writing a policy platform for corporate freedom. They talk about taking back control, but their plan would hand control of our economy over to the very same deregulated financial forces that left so many communities feeling powerless and forgotten. So when you hear them say they speak for the working class, you have to ask yourself one simple question: who are they really working for? Anyway, thanks for watching. If this video made you think, please share it with someone who needs to see it, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into what's really happening in British politics. See you next time and take care, my good friends.